Hello friends and family, welcome back. Today I'll share with you my dance with the Atkins. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't believe it. I had barely slept. I was so exhausted and really overwhelmed because today is the day I had to start the Atkins diet. I didn't have a lot of food ready except for breakfast food. So I quickly grabbed a piece of paper, wrote down everything that I needed to get from the grocery store. And then I proceeded to have breakfast, which really was nothing much. Even though I was so hungry after breakfast, I decided to just stick with it. I didn't want to have anything else. I went to the grocery store, picked up all my items. By mid-morning, I was back and I was so tired. I had the splitting headache, but I decided I'm not a quitter, so I kept going. I had my lunch and then had my dinner at dinner time, and the day was done. I decided to repeat my meals for the next few days just to make it easier, because on the Atkins diet, on the first stage, you have to eat like less than 20 grams of carbohydrates. So I didn't want to bother with all the counting and the prepping. So I decided that it's just easier to repeat it over and over again for the next few days. I also decided to eat fish, even though I'm a vegetarian, because again, it's just easier for keeping it under 20 grams of carbohydrates, which is really little. By Thursday though, I was so bored of all the food and I was so tired. I was just really missing the taste of warm bread, ice cream, chocolates, and I just kept thinking about all these foods. So I decided I might as well go to bed early to avoid all these food thoughts, so I went to sleep. Guess what happened? I started having food dreams. I dreamt that I ate all these breads and I had all these chocolates and ice creams, and I was feeling so guilty in my sleep. It was horrible. I was so relieved when I got up and realized it was just a dream. Come on guys, show of hands. Who has experienced these food dreams before? Because if you've been on a diet, I'm pretty sure you have. And it's horrible, right? Anyway, I carried on. The next morning, it was Friday morning, and I had a job interview to go to, a teaching job interview. So I got dressed, had my breakfast, and left. I got an offer immediately after the interview. They loved me, they offered me the job. They said they will give me 2 days to decide whether I wanted to take it or not. Suddenly I felt so overwhelmed because I had to make this decision, and the school is like an hour away from home. So I would spend 2.5 hours each day coming and going from school. And I was like, do I really want this now? As these thoughts were going through my head, we passed by a shopping mall. I got down and I immediately saw a doner kebab stall. Like, that was the first thing I saw. So I ordered 2 doner kebabs without even thinking about it. And then I opened the wrapper and I ate the doner kebab. It was so good, a vegetarian doner kebab. I loved the warm bread, the corn, the beans, and all the sauces mixed together. It was so good. And then I carried on. I went to the supermarket. By this time I realized that, devil, demon, monster inside me had taken over, and I had no control of my food decisions. I grabbed some chocolate, ice cream, chips, and I even opened the packet of chocolate and started eating it before even paying for it. I mean, who does that? I walked around aimlessly and I was just like really relieved. It was so early in the morning, so I didn't see anyone because I just really wanted to binge on my own, unseen. About half an hour later, when I finally finished stuffing my face, I entered the car and I just passed out. Right that moment, a thought came to my mind, a scene rather, of a graduation party that we had in New Zealand, and how my best friend, just passed out after drinking way too much. I associated that moment of how she felt and how she behaved to this moment and how I felt, because I just felt so horrible. I just felt like throwing up, and it was just such an uncomfortable feeling. And I imagined her feeling the same way then. The only difference is that I ate too much food. She drank too much alcohol. So I went back home and I rushed to my room and I just tried to sleep. Even though I barely slept, like I went in and out of sleep. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to talk about how the job interview went, nothing. So I isolated. So dear friends, I have experienced all of this and I have learned from it. I will share with you some tools and tips below that will help you so that you don't have to experience this. You can learn from my experience. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.
I felt so sorry for myself since I could not even eat fruit on this diet. Notice that it was not about the diet or the fruit. It was the meaning I associated with not being able to eat the fruit, which is no fruit equals deprivation. Change the story you tell yourself and your life changes. My experience would have been different if I had chosen to journal the pros and cons of taking the job. Always carry a book and a pencil in your bag. Journaling can save you from a binge.